What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my channel, the 10K Property Report. My name is Kay, and in this video, we're going to discuss how it's still possible to find and purchase property under $10,000 in 2026 and beyond. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we'll jump into the content. As you can see on my screen, I'm sharing my screen because I wanted to show you on Zillow that these properties exist everywhere. So this particular property is $9,000. We're going to go over some of the pros and cons of investing in a property like this, and I'll run down a little bit of numbers to show you if this is a good purchase in the event that you do your due diligence and everything is good to go or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So like I said earlier, the purchase price is $9,000, but let's try to figure out why it's $9,000. In the back of your mind as an investor, whether you're new or you're seasoned, you need to identify, is the price, does the price justify what's actually going on with the property? Okay, so as you can see, it has that Pennsylvania style. I've been to Pennsylvania before, and as you can see, it's like on a hill. So let's go to the next picture. Just want to show you a little bit of the home and how it looks on the outside. The main reason why I picked this property is because it is a brick home, and I definitely, as an investor, I love brick homes. Why? Because it just holds the integrity of the home, right? Brick is a sturdy material to use. It doesn't necessarily mean that you will always have no problems. However, it does help that it is brick and it's sturdy and it's a good material to use when you're talking about a rental property that you want to keep in the event that you want to keep it in your portfolio for a while. Okay, so this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. It's about 850 square feet. And as you go along, you can see some of the damage. So I am not a contractor. I do not make repairs. I pay for the repairs to be done. I know a little bit about estimations and stuff like that, but I'm not going to pretend that I know that to fix this crack or to fix the ceiling would cost X amount of money, because I don't, especially because this is in Pennsylvania and the cost would vary depending on where you're located and the contract that you have, the relationship that you have. Now, I will say here, if you are a contractor yourself and you can fix these properties yourself, that's even perfect, right? Because you're saving money, all right? And that's the name of the game. So as you can see, it appears to be the first room. I'll continue to scroll with the pictures. This is the entryway, it looks like. This could be, I guess, the living room area. The kitchen, it appears. You can see it has some damage. So as we're going through these pictures, you should be, trying to figure out how much would it cost to actually get this fixed, okay? So you can see some damage here. And if you're planning on renting this property out, you want to get it rental ready, which means you are not over renovating this property. So keep that in mind. This is not an HGTV type project. I will look at the description in just a second to give you some information about what has to happen with this property in order for you to get, I think, an occupancy report. However, just keep in mind you're not over renovating this property, okay? And I'm gonna show you a picture in a second of another property that has 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and it's renting for a pretty decent amount. And yeah, I'll show you some of the renovations that they've done in that property so you can kind of compare. And that's what you want to do as an investor, especially a first-time investor or any investor really. Compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. See what the local area, how they're renovating their properties. If it's minimally renovated, then you can kind of get an idea that, okay, I don't have to go too, I don't have to do too much, but just enough to see a return on your investment, right? So let me go back because I was talking when I was scrolling through these pictures. This actually appears to be the bedroom. I thought the other one was a bedroom, but I think this is a bedroom. This looks like a bedroom. And I believe this is the basement. Yeah. Okay. And it does appear that this property potentially was a part of a land bank. And that's something that you would look into to get more information. But it does also appear, when I read that, let me go back. When I read that, it appeared that Pennsylvania has a program, and I would have to do more research. Pennsylvania is not an area that I invest in. It appears by reading this that they actually provide a clear title, but of course you would do your due diligence and making sure that you get and receive a clear title. But it gives you everything that you need to do not everything you need to do, but everything that is required for this particular property. Okay. If you're interested, I can do another video on land bank properties. Those are good properties under $10,000 as well. They typically have a stipulation saying that you need to, have all the repairs done in a certain amount of time. It has different stipulations depending on where you're located. Okay. But again, this is in Pennsylvania. As you can see, I've blurred out the address. Why? Because I have a newsletter. It's called the 10K Property Report. All right. It's the same as my YouTube channel, the same handle or same name, because it's honestly a spinoff of my YouTube channel, is a spinoff of my newsletter. So if you're interested in weekly deals, I provide this to my newsletter folks. If you're interested in weekly deals, go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. It's free. Okay. I'll pin it in the comments and I'll also place it in the description so you can see. So this will go out to my, potentially, I think I might send this one. This will go out to my newsletter folks. Okay. So don't miss out, get on the list. All right. Scrolling down, you can see some of the description that I wanted to talk about. Now, another thing to keep in mind, it has no HOA from what it says here. So keep that in mind as you're looking for properties, because an HOA is just an additional fee. Personally, if you see my other channel, Money Moves with K, you know that I do not like HOA fees. So I try to steer clear of those fees because they just add up. Okay. And I like to do with the property what I want to do with the property. All right. Because at the end of the day, you purchased it. All right. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 850 square feet. It's being sold as is, along with adjacent vacant lot. Oh, okay. So you would, it says, so you need to buy the adjacent vacant lot as well. So keep that in mind. All right. So I actually didn't see that the first time I looked at this, but this is okay. I would have to look at the adjacent lot and see how much that costs to see if it's even worth my time. All right. There will be further due diligence. So I'm glad I looked at this the second time. I kind of got caught up with the price. So don't do what I did. Read the directions, not directions, but the details. They matter. The property features a covered front porch and will require full renovation to pass an occupancy inspection. All right. And I always tell folks that the starting price is just a suggestion. It's a starting point. Okay. So it does not mean that that will be the deal. You could work out a deal where it's $5,000 and then get the adjacent lot for $5,000. But I don't know anything about the adjacent lot, so we'll only focus on this particular property. I want to scroll down and kind of look at some numbers real quick, because I want you to see that this potentially could be a good real estate investment in the event that you wanted to rent this property out. So Zillow typically has a Zestimate. What is a Zestimate? A Zestimate basically tells you the rent Zestimate. It tells you the rent in the area, approximately. They typically are spot on, give or take $100 to $200 or so. They're typically spot on with what people are charging, other investors are charging in the neighborhood. And this rent Zestimate says that you can get for this property about $1,100, so $1,141 a month. Okay, so as a beginning investor, you want to know, is this good or not? And let me know in the comment section as well if you want me to do a video on cash return. What is that? How do you calculate it? All that good stuff. For this video, I'm not necessarily going to calculate it. I just kind of want to give you some workarounds to where you can find the rental information. Okay. But I probably will do a video breaking down the numbers, because that's the most important part. You have to factor in vacancy. As an investor, especially beginning, you go in thinking, oh, okay, I purchased this property for $9,000. It costs this to repair. The first day I put it on the market for rent, it's going to rent. And that's not necessarily true. So you have to account for vacancy, CapEx, which are those major repairs within the home, HVAC, roof, etc. You have to account for a lot of different things, and you have to save those expenses monthly. Okay. So, and you also have to account for like how much is the property taxes in this neighborhood, in this area of Pennsylvania. The median household income is about $24,000 to $28,000. So that'll factor in just a second. I'll try to come back to that point in just a moment. But I really want to talk about, like, what is the cash on cash return for this property? First, you need to know the estimates. Like, how much does it cost to repair this property? And if you don't know, that's fine. But I highly suggest that you get a contractor and find somebody who does know, okay? But let's just say, for example purposes, that this property costs $50,000 to repair, all right? So you would be all in about $61-ish thousand. How did I get that? 50,000 plus the 9,000. Closing costs roughly are between 4 to 7%. If you don't like math, then you might have a hard time, by the way. You might have a hard time being an investor. But 4 to 7% for closing costs, so that brings you up to about $10,000 to $11,000, 11.5, right? So when I calculated everything, and by the way, let me go to another website. This is called Rent-O-Meter, and Rent-O-Meter actually has some estimates, and I think they do like a free trial, but they give you what the median, the average rent in this particular area. I put the address in here, and it told me around about how much I could charge if I purchase this property, how much I'll be able to charge for this home for rent, okay? And as you can see, the average and the median are kind of spot on with my zestimate, my rent zestimate. Remember, my rent zestimate was $11.41. So for example purposes, let's just say that let's say I purchased the property and I charge $1,200 for rent. It will bring me about, well, it depends on the repairs, but let's say the repairs are $50,000. It could bring me or net me about 16%-ish for cash on cash return. You want to be between 8 to 12 or 8 to 15%. And I think I'm gonna have to do a video on this because it's very intricate in how you're going to calculate your cash on cash return to see if this is a good deal or not. And that's the biggest point that investors, especially beginning investors, they need to know. All right. So stay tuned for the cash on cash return. There's going to be some math, but stay tuned. I used to be a math teacher. So stay tuned to that video. I'm going to keep it simple with this video and just focus on some of the details. Okay. Another way, my last tip, another way you could find the rent value in the area is to scroll all the way down and you're going to see this map, right? Now I'm going to expand the map and I'm going to show you some comparisons, some comps in the area of how other homes that are for rent currently, how they look, right? So you can see yellow means it was sold, or it could be for sale, excuse me. The purple means it's for rent. So I'm gonna click this one. It says $1,100, all right? So this home is $1,100 a month. They're charging $1,100 a month. So let's figure out, let's look at the details. So 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It's even smaller than our subject property. So let's scroll down. As you can see, they did not over renovate this property in the event that they renovated it. This gives me like, I've been to Greece, so it gives me like I guess it's stucco. I don't know what type of material this is, but if I zoom in, I'm pretty sure I could try to tell. Again, I'm not a contractor, and that's fine. But pretty nice carpet. It's a clean property, right? But it's only 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and they're renting it for $1,100, which gives you an idea that your price after you renovate it could be pretty spot on, like the rent's estimate. All right. That's the end of my video. I just wanted to show you, first of all, the potential rent that you can get in the area. I also wanted to show you that it's still possible to find these deals under $10,000, $10,000 or less. And I wanted you to understand that there's a lot of math involved, okay? So you will have to do some math. Oh, let me go back. Let me circle back for just 1 second. For this area of Pennsylvania, like I said earlier, $24,000 or $28,000 in median household income, that could potentially pose a problem as a landlord, because that means that the rent may not come in at some point, right? If your rent is $1,200 and I'm making $24,000 a year, then something's going to have to give. And typically the rent is the first thing to give. So you would want to do your due diligence and find an area that is really stable and stable enough, not only now, because they'll have the money now for the deposit and all that, but for the future as well. So you don't have to worry about the eviction process, which is the vetting that you have to do as a landlord. There's a lot, okay? That's the end of my video, guys. I'm rambling, so that means I need to stop. So if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. In the comment section, go ahead and put 10K. It allows me to know you made it this far in the video, and I truly do appreciate it. Until next time, guys, you stay blessed. Peace.